Then, as you know, this is the Easter time. We have memories about one of the greatest master ever exists. In my point of view, the biggest one, but it doesn't matter. Then I have no idea what we're gonna do these 3-4 days, but I just know that will be great. I'm going to start to talking about a word that we know as desire. There's a lot of opinions about desire. So many connotations that they say, well, desire is not good, desire is good, etc., etc. But if we can see, whatever we do in life always start with a desire to do something. Then desire is not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just simple motivation that we have. Now, desire can go in two different directions. I want you to use really your imagination, because this is a topic that is not that easy, but you can see yourself playing with desire all your life. There's things that you like, things that you don't like. There's things that you do because you have to do it, and things that you love to do. Well, you have a desire, and you can fulfill or not fulfill that desire. It will take an action to fulfill a desire. Either you take an action or you don't take an action. Then many of the religions in the world, they condemn desire. They feel that desire is something bad. Well, I really don't agree with that. Like I say, it's not good or bad or right or wrong. It just exists. You know, everything exists first in our imagination. Then whatever is in our mind, we can make it happen or not happen depending the action. But the desire is there. You take an action, you fulfill the desire, and you will have the results. Then it's not important really the results. But based on desire, you will make a lot of the choices in your life. Then desire can go mainly in two different directions. And that direction will depend if you have a doubt or not a doubt about the desire. And if you don't have a doubt, that desire can take you to something that I call inspiration, that inspire you to fulfill something great. If you have doubt, that desire can take you to a place that you attach in that place, and that desire becomes an obsession. Then that obsession, it really will take you into self-destruction. When you are obsessed with something, it will take you into self-judgments, more doubts, and it will take you into a self-destruction. On the other hand, desire can take you into inspiration, into ecstasy. And this is when you don't have a doubt about your desire. Am I clear with this? Then when you go into obsession, because you have all those doubts and you have all those judgments about yourself and about everything around you, it will take you to a kind of a nightmare. Especially when it's strong self-judgments, it will create all those obstacles in your life that will become a little difficult to break it. On the other hand, if you go to inspiration, wow, you're going to have a life that will be so blessed because everything becomes extremely easy. Then, just with that point of view, we can understand many of the teachings of a lot of the great teachers that live in this beautiful planet Earth during all the millennia. All the great teachers, you can see that they start always with a desire. And we can see the difference between all those masters and all those people to go into obsession. When you go into the obsession, you become so rigid that you hardly can break all those beliefs. You create a lot of superstition, a lot of fanaticism, and it will take you to a very difficult life, even if you can pretend that you're not having a difficult life. Am I making any sense here? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then I like to apply this little concept to a memory of the great master, Jesus of Nazareth, who lived 2,000 years ago. Then according to that tradition, that is nothing but a story that we can believe or not. It's not important if it's true or it's not true, but it's beautiful. Then according to that tradition, today is the day of the Last Supper. A wonderful day in that tradition. But it will be a very controversial day because, as you guys know, everybody used to believe that Jesus was the Messiah. But what is the Messiah? Well, in that tradition, a Messiah is the one who should be the king, but is not the king because somebody else take that place. Then, since supposedly Jesus was born, the people who knew him, they knew that he would be the Messiah. But it was just a desire that need the action to come true, that beautiful dream. Then, as the legend said, there was lots of people in Jerusalem in that morning. And everybody was waiting that Jesus say, I am the Messiah. Let's take my kingdom, and everybody will follow him. There was all the people ready to fight. But for whatever reason, when Jesus faced everybody, he told them, well, this is not my kingdom. I am not the Messiah. And all the people who was following him and wanted to support him, they feel betrayed. And they go to the other side. They go against the Christ. And he hardly escaped from the temple. Well, that night, the supper, he was talking with the disciples that they exactly didn't understand why he didn't say, I'm the Messiah, and let's take my kingdom back. But at that time, Jesus knew that it was the end of his life. And he was ready to go all the way to give his last teachings. Then in that Last Supper, the disciples they asked the Christ to tell them about the kingdom of heaven, to give them the signs, what's going to happen, etc., etc. Anyway, he started talking to everybody about what is the kingdom of heaven. They say, this is my kingdom, the kingdom of heaven. Mm-hmm. And it's a place where love is unconditional. It's a place where everybody lives in their own kingdom, and everybody's king or queen in their own kingdom. And they describe what love is. He shared with everybody all his feelings. And he said, well, by the end, many people will come and say, I am the prophet, this is the truth, etc., etc. I say, don't believe them. You will know the kingdom of heaven when the last judgment happened, the final judgment. He was talking to his disciples, and the disciples was part of that mystery school that Jesus was teaching. Then it was really meant to talk to the disciples, not to everybody around, not to everybody else. And of course, everybody misunderstood about what is the final judgment. But of course, it was not Jesus the one who invented that term, because that's the way he learned. There was another society that they called themselves the Essenes, that their teaching was based into the last judgment. Anyway, if you read the Bible, of course, and see the Apocalypse, you will see about the final judgment. Well, people misunderstood. They think that in the last judgment, God come and will judge everybody. And whoever is good will take them, and whoever is not good will be condemned to hell. Well, they misunderstood the whole thing. The last judgment is the very last step in any mystery school. And the last judgment is the very last time that you judge. Then the last judgment is about yourself. It's the very last time that you judge yourself. After that, there is no more judgments. You don't judge yourself and you don't judge anybody else. Well, how did Christ knew that? Well, because he spent 40 days in the desert, 3 years before. And in that 40 days in the desert, he faced himself. When they say he was facing the snake, he was facing Satan, he was really facing himself. All the judgment to all his life was coming in front of his face. And he was winning. And it took 40 days till finally going to the very last judgment. When he passed the last judgment, then he was the Christ. Not the Messiah, the Christ. When he faced the last judgment, something extremely important happened into his mind. He recovered respect, 100% respect, mainly for himself. And from that moment on, his mind was completely in peace. There was no more conflict in his mind. It's like he finally graduates and becomes the master. And that's what he was sharing with his disciples in the Last Supper. Don't believe them. Don't believe them. The final judgment is the last time that you judge yourself. And after that, you live in complete peace with yourself because you respect yourself 100%. You respect your physical body 100%. You respect the program of what you are 100%. And when you respect 100% yourself, you respect everybody else also 100%. Then that was one of the very last teachings that Jesus was sharing with his apprentices in the Last Supper, giving the key for all of them to become masters as he was. When you respect everybody else, you respect the way they dream, the story that they create, the world that they live in, because we all have our own world, which is our own creation. We create the reality in the one we live. It's our reality. And only you know what your reality is. Nobody can know what is your reality. And many times, not even you knew your own reality. But it's your creation. It's the story of your life, the story of you, how you perceive yourself and how you perceive everything around you. All what you believe is in that story, in your creation, in your world. At that time, when they say world, it doesn't mean the planet. It means the world that you create in your mind. That's why here in Mexico and many other places, they say that every brain, every head is a world. And only you know what you have in your world. And if you don't like your creation, nobody can change it but you. You are the only one who can change your world, who can change your creation, and nobody else. Because it's you the one who created. If you don't like it, you can change it. But how can you change your own world? Well, first you have to have the awareness that you create your world, and because you create your world, this is your responsibility, and it's nobody else's responsibility for your creation. That is extremely important to understand. You are completely responsible for your own creation. Now, in our creation, we have that conflict, a conflict that most of the religions, philosophies, histories say that is between good and evil. Well, good and evil is just the result of the real conflict that exists in the human mind. Because the real conflict is between the truth and lies. If you believe in lies, the result will be evil in all the different degrees, from just a little evil to extreme evil. This is when you believe lies. Other people's lies, but mainly your own lies. If you believe truth, the result is goodness. It's so easy to understand that. It's very simple. Then the conflict is not between good and evil, it's between the truth and lies. But now, our world is made by lies. Wow. And that's the truth. Our world, the world that we create, is made by lies. But then we have to understand what is a lie. Well, a lie is a distortion of the truth. That is a lie. And we distort everything since we were children. We grew up distorting everything. We practice and practice and practice until we master distorting everything. But we are searching for truth. Then people ask, then what is the truth? And the answer is, I don't know. But exist. I don't know. And it's easy to say, I don't know, because in order to explain you what the truth is, I need to speak a language. And all the language that we know, doesn't matter whatever language you speak, is only true because millions of people agree with every letter, every word, every sentence. It's just an agreement. This is a sofa just because we agree that it's a sofa. But in Japanese, it's not a sofa. In German, it's not a sofa. In Italy, it's not a sofa. And it's the same with everything that we learn. We learn symbols, and we give a meaning to symbols. And we invest all the power of our faith in the creation of those symbols. Faith is belief in something 100% without a doubt. Has nothing to do with religion. Is believe in something 100% without a doubt. That is faith. Then we have complete faith in everything that we know. But if we have the awareness that everything that we know is only true because we agree, then by the end we'll find out that it's not exactly truth, but it's only true for the humans who agree for the meaning of whatever. Then there's, it looks like there's two different kinds of truth, but it's not exactly truth, of course. The real truth exists long before the creation of humanity and will exist long after the extinction of humanity. And the truth doesn't need that anybody believe on it. We don't need to believe in the truth just exists. But there is no way to explain the truth. We use language to try to explain the truth, and we can get very close. But the only way to know the truth is to experience the truth. And we don't need the language in order to experience the truth. When we understand what I just explained to you, then we will understand what I think is the biggest teaching of Jesus. And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That's it. That's all we need to know, really. If we know the truth, we become free. But if someone comes and say, this is the truth, believe me, this is the truth, it's not truth. No, it's not true. You need to experience. Now, how are we going to experience the truth? That's the best part. Inspiration. The desire takes us to inspiration. When we are inspired, we bypass knowledge and we just know. And we don't need to prove. We just know. Once you bypass knowledge, you know that we are the ones who create knowledge. We are the creators of knowledge. Then we create knowledge, and with the creation of knowledge, we create an image of the truth. That is not the truth. Then it's the truth that every human has in their own world. Then you have your own truth in your own world, but that truth is covered by your knowledge. And your knowledge is made by lies. And you can see that lies cannot survive the presence of the truth. Just by seeing that, we can see how great was this master, Jesus. All that he explained it in the Last Supper to his apprentices. Of course, in the language that he speak at that time, whatever they understood. But this is exactly what he tried to share with all his apprentices, with all his disciples. And he say, once that you do the last judgment, you guys will perform the same kind of miracles that I did, or even better than what I did. Because by that time, you recovered your faith completely. And it's so easy to understand, because when you have the last judgment, you no longer believe in everything that you learn. It's not that you are judging what you learn. It's not that you are judging language. No, you see that language is wonderful. We created in order to communicate with each other. The language is one of the greatest inventions. And we humans, we believe that we create language because we are so intelligent. Well, it's not true. It has nothing to do with human intelligence. We invent knowledge. We create knowledge because we are programmed to do that. It's in the program. It has nothing to do with our intelligence. It's in our program. You are programmed to give a meaning to everything that you perceive. And by giving the meaning to everything that you perceive, even if you was born and grew up in in an island where only you live, very soon you will create a knowledge that perhaps only you understand. But this is how you're going to explain everything that you perceive. Then that's the reason why there are so many languages in this beautiful planet Earth. Because in different places of the world, groups gather together, they make agreements, and they create their own language, and they understand each other. Fortunately, we can translate from one language to the other. Then when you learn, let's say, English, you learn how to write and read English too. Then you're on the street and you know exactly what everybody else tried to share with you. But if you go to Japan, you hear people talking in Japanese, you see all those graphics in the streets, you have no idea about what they wanted to. The only way is for you to let go your knowledge and learn their knowledge and make the agreement with all of them, and then you will understand their culture, and you will learn their way of living. You will learn their religion, their philosophy, and that may create a conflict in your mind if you have the other philosophy, the other religion that you already have in your mind. Then we'll see, well, which one is truth? You will find out that none of that is truth, really. But by knowing all that, it will guide you to live your life in a certain way. But the whole thing really is in your own creation. You are completely responsible for your creation, and nobody else is. Now, if you want to change your world because you don't like the way you live your life, you will not change it if you try to change all the secondary characters of your story. It will not serve for you. It will not be good for you to try to change your mother, your father, your beloved, your children, the people that you know. Nothing will change if you want to change them. The only way that you can change your own story is by changing the main character of your story, which means you. That's the only way. You change what you believe about yourself, and just like magic, everything around you starts changing. Just like magic, boom. And it's not that they change. What changes is the way that you believe about them? What changes the way that you believe about yourself? Remember? And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. If you can understand what I try to share this time, you will understand also that in this beautiful planet Earth exists 6 billion of people, and each one of them create their own reality. That is the greatest art. Everybody is an artist. Every single human that exists is an artist, and the creation of their own story is a demonstration how great is their art. Then you can see that it doesn't matter how excited or how boring is the story of any human. For that person, that is a masterpiece of art. Artists. We all are artists. Doesn't matter where we was born, doesn't matter what language we speak, doesn't matter what religion do we have, what philosophy what we follow, we all are artists, each one of us. Well, the word Toltec is a Nahuatl word that means artist. It doesn't matter what language we use, the meaning is the same. We are artists. Then when I say that we are Toltecs, I mean we are artists. It doesn't matter whatever is the legacy behind. I'm talking about the totality of humanity around this beautiful planet Earth. We all are artists. But perhaps we was not aware that we are artists. But once that we have that awareness and we see that our art is our own story, then it's easy to understand that if we don't like our own story, we can change it. And nobody else can change it, but you can change your own story. And you cannot change anybody else's story. You cannot change your beloved story. You cannot change your children's story, your parents, anybody else's. The only story that you can change is your own. But yes, you can try. In fact, everybody tried to change everybody else's story. And that creates a lot of conflict. Trying to create everybody else's story, it becomes an obsession. Remember, we start with desire. Now your obsession is to control your beloved, to control your children. And if they try to control you, you become the big victim. Look what they're doing to me. Then you see, if we go to obsession, where we're going. And if we go, as soon as we go into obsession, there is no respect there. And all the conflict begins just right there. Then we have to be right and make everybody else wrong. And our opinions become so strong that we want to impose our beliefs, our opinions to other people. We go into obsession, and that obsession will take us into destruction. Can building until you can see the destruction. But on the other hand, if you went to inspiration, it will take you to the truth. You will bypass knowledge, and you will know the truth. And the truth will set you free. Then that was the drama that was happened 2,000 years ago, a day like this one, with the Last Supper. All the people who was follow Jesus now was against him. Next day, he was trapped. The next day, he died. After a lot of torture, with a lot of people watching him being tortured. And all that happened in one day. Well, a day before, everybody shift, everybody was against him. And next day, everyone was cheering for his death. Crucify him, until finally. Then that happened tomorrow in that story. The crucifixion and the death of the Christ.